Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
Yeah. By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, this is Val, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister.
Now, I don't hate anyone, and that includes President Biden. But when he tries to blame shrinkflation and inflation on small business people, you have to consider the source. So much of the attention right now is on President Biden's age. And it's true that it takes longer than a trip to Jupiter for him to walk across the stage. But we can't lose sight of the fact that his economic policies have been almost every time reliably and dependably wrong. And his inflation is a cancer on the American dream. And the American people have figured it out, and that's why, if you believe the polls, the president is polling right up there with chlamydia.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Sleepy Joe Biden, who is declining in almost every possible way, whether you look at his approval ratings or his poll numbers versus Trump, or even his mental state. Joe Biden clearly is in a state of decline, which I guess is a good way for you to describe America under Joe Biden. And the mainstream liberal media is desperate to try to help Joe Biden reverse this obvious decline that he is facing, because he went on late night liberal talk show host Seth Meyers' show to basically try to trash Trump. And it really didn't work out that well, because despite the fact that the mainstream liberal media is trying to nitpick everything Trump says to make it seem like Trump is the one that is experiencing mental decline, they still can't cover up for the fact that, one, a lot of the things they're saying about Trump is completely out of context and easily debunked because it's fake news. And two, Joe Biden can't even roast Trump for his alleged mental decline without showing that he is in mental decline, which is basically what happened on the propaganda show last night. And I want to talk about it. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Virtual Shield. It has been revealed that thousands of websites share your personal information with social media giants. Most of us know that our every move is being tracked online when we search the web. It is no longer a surprise when we get an ad for a product that we search for online. But what is the extent of this invasion of privacy? A recent report reveals an average of 2,230 companies will send your data to the most popular social media website. This is why myself and tens of thousands of others are starting to protect ourselves and our personal data from this mass invasion of privacy with Virtual Shield. Virtual Shield is the industry-leading VPN offering military-grade protection, a strict no-log policy, and built-in ID monitoring that comes with a massive $1 million identity theft insurance policy. Turning Virtual Shield on only takes 2 clicks, and it instantly helps protect your data from the prying eyes of corporations, ISPs, hackers, mobile carriers, tech giants, and more. You can experience the incredible protection of Virtual Shield with an exclusive 60-day risk-free trial. During this 60-day free trial, you'll be able to enjoy unlimited bandwidth, anonymous browsing, and fast internet speeds across all devices. Don't put your privacy at risk by not using Virtual Shield. Get it now by signing up for free at virtualshield.com/BCP. That is virtualshield.com/BCP. Try it now. You have nothing to lose.
Former President Trump told supporters last week that former First Lady Melania Trump will soon be making more regular appearances on the campaign trail. Not if she heard what you called her last week.
I call up my wife, our great First Lady. She was a great friend. People loved her. Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good.
I'm sorry. Mercedes? You had a nuclear meltdown when Biden messed up the president of Egypt and you can't remember your wife's name? Guys, I hate to say it, his mind is slipping. I think he's too old to run. You mentioned some classified materials, some documents recently leaked, some classified documents. And this isn't a gotcha show, but I do want to ask about it, that says you are currently 81 years old.
Who the hell told you that?
Yeah.
That's classified.
That's classified. All jokes aside, according to recent polling, this is a real concern for American voters. How do you address that concern going forward as you come up to the 2024 election?
Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
Yeah.
And number one. Number two, it's about how old your ideas are. Look, I mean, this is a guy who wants to take us back. He wants to take us back on Roe v. Wade. He wants to take us back on a whole range of issues that are 50, 60 years. They've been solid American positions. And I really mean this sincerely. I think it's about the future. And every single thing we've done, I think we've got some good things done. Everything, and they told us we couldn't get them done because things were so divided. And but I think everything we've gotten done, he's just friendly stated he wants to do away with if he gets elected. And I really think his views on where to take America are older than, anyway, I don't want to get going.
You talked about...
Yeah, so I want you guys to understand how much of a disaster this was for Joe Biden. First and foremost, this propagandist, Seth Meyers, who I'm not sure if you can call him a comedian. I think propagandist is probably the proper title for this individual. He lies about this idea that Trump forgot his wife's name because what he was referring to, or who he was referring to during that speech at CPAC, was Mercedes Schlapp, who is the wife of Matt Schlapp, the chairman of CPAC. So this guy just flat out lied, okay? And that's how desperate they are to find Trump making the same mistakes that Biden is making, because that wasn't a mistake, right? They just cut the clip short so that people could not see or understand exactly who he was referring to. Again, this is deception and classic fake news from the fake news liberal media, right? That's exactly what this is. And just keep in mind that Trump had just finished giving a bunch of speeches in South Carolina, campaigning in South Carolina, flew to CPAC to then give that speech, and then went back to South Carolina. So I'm just saying, this guy had been traveling all day long and had been giving speeches and working his ass off for days, right? For days leading up to that speech. And the only thing they could find was some out of context clip of Trump referring to his wife as somebody else, even though he actually really wasn't referring to his wife. He was actually referring to an individual that was there in the audience. Again, amazing how that works, right? Absolutely amazing. That's how desperate they are. And during this same segment where Biden is trying to basically roast Trump for mental decline, Biden has a mental episode himself because he basically just ran out of brain gas, right? I mean, he basically couldn't even finish his thought about what he was trying to say about Trump because that's how mentally deteriorated he is. Again, it's amazing, right? It's absolutely hilarious. Also, not to mention that Joe Biden can't even talk about his 2024 agenda without making a mistake of claiming that his 2024 agenda is his 2020 agenda.
What would you want to do? What's your 2024 agenda? Because I feel like we live in such crazy times that is one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish the job.
The 2020 agenda is to finish the job. Joe Biden, when asked about his 2024 agenda, apparently he gave his 2020 agenda instead. Again, you can't sell a shit sandwich to the American people, right? You can't cover it up no matter how hard you try. You can try to make Trump seem like he's mentally declining, but Joe Biden's mental decline is so obvious and in your face, it's just clearly not going to work, okay? And this is showing up in the polls because Trump is just absolutely crushing Joe Biden across the board in swing states, even when you include RFK. Now, this is the latest polling from Emerson / The Hill. Okay, and I want you guys to look at this because this is devastating for Joe Biden, right? You have Nevada, where Trump is up 10 points over Biden. Again, Kennedy's in the race. Okay, Wisconsin, Trump up 4. Michigan, Trump up 3. Pennsylvania, Trump up 5. North Carolina, Trump up 9. Georgia, Trump up 9. Arizona, Trump up 6. So Trump is up in almost every swing state. Actually, not even almost. Every swing state, Trump is up, even with Kennedy in the race. Okay, this is an absolute disaster for Joe Biden. Okay, and, you know, up until this point, when it comes to the GOP primary polling, the polls have proved to be accurate. And if they are accurate in regards to the general election, Joe Biden is in huge trouble. And we're going to figure out exactly how much trouble Joe Biden is in tonight because the Michigan primary is tonight, and Joe Biden is facing some problems in Michigan, okay, from two fronts. One, when it comes to Joe Biden's bad policies for auto workers who appear to be on the verge of abandoning Joe Biden, and Democrats, although Democrats have been pro-union, it seems that Biden's climate policies have really turned off his core base.
You've been in the auto industry 38 years for the union, just coming up on 40,
Yeah.
maybe just shy of that. You are voting
Yeah.
Trump. Tell me why. Let's start there.
Well, it's very simple for me, Bill. Donald Trump came into office, tore up the NAFTA agreement, which was horrible for American auto workers, and renegotiated the USMCA, which leveled the playing field so it's not as incentivized for our jobs and plants to go to Mexico. That alone is enough. But opening up ANWR in Alaska for oil drilling got gas prices down below $2 a gallon. It's all of Biden's policies have basically hurt auto workers. He showed up for 15 minutes to walk on a picket line and get his picture taken. It was nothing more than a photo op. Donald Trump walks the walk. He doesn't walk the picket line for a photo op and then leave.
Yeah, brutal. Absolutely brutal for Sleepy Joe, okay? And it's not just auto workers that apparently are abandoning Joe Biden, but you also have Arab/Muslim Americans who are coming out to vote uncommitted in the Michigan primary as a protest against Joe Biden and his support of Israel during their invasion of Gaza, in which you even have the mainstream liberal media and the establishment afraid that this vote is actually going to affect the outcome of the Michigan primary, and maybe, just maybe, it's going to spill over into the general election as well.
Got Michigan this week, and progressives have been upset about Joe Biden's support of Israel, which we think there might be some sort of ceasefire and hostage release brewing. That state has the largest percentage of Arab American voters. How concerned should the campaign be about this?
Way more concerned than they currently are. I actually talked to the leader of the Abandoned Biden movement on the ground there. He's a Palestinian American, knows folks who have had family members who have died during the bombardments in Gaza. And he was a Biden voter. Just a few months ago, he had a Biden-Harris sign in his yard. Now he says he would sooner vote for, what did he say? Sooner vote for Mickey Mouse than Joe Biden, even if it means voting for Donald Trump. So I think that if you look at the numbers, one more thing, Martha, Joe Biden won by 150,000 votes in Michigan. There are 200,000 Muslim or Arab American voters in Michigan. If he alienates all of them, Michigan is gone for him.
A vote and whether uncommitted gets left. It's a lot to ask people to turn out to vote in a presidential primary that doesn't really mean anything, right? And then to vote uncommitted. But this I think is a good test. Like, how serious is the problem? I talk a lot with Governor Whitmer's team. It's just really hard to get hard to know. It's hard to know.
Well, that's what we're looking for then.
Yeah,
percent of the country. I mean, it's interesting to hear the governor on the program just now acknowledge that the uncommitted vote is going to be a thing, and it could be that if you're really angry about Gaza, as you said earlier in the show, this is a democracy. This is people's chance to have a protest. They get a chance to have a protest vote. So we may get a higher number than you might do, say, in November.
Jonathan Lemire.
Yeah, and to Governor Whitmer's point, she was very candid about the anger that those people feel. Acknowledged it will be hard to win them back come November for President Biden's team. That's a real challenge. I would expect that the president himself will travel to Michigan before long and attempt to repair those wounds.
It's fair enough, for sure. I mean, the president himself has said that Israel's response has been over the top, but now there are new developments we'll be watching as well. So,
and that Democrats think that this is a real threat because Joe Biden and the Democrats have basically come out and started trashing Benjamin Netanyahu, and also basically showing that, hey, we're going to try to force Israel to issue a ceasefire against Hamas because Joe Biden needs to try to save his chances of being reelected.
Can you give us a sense of when you think that ceasefire will start, sir?
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend. The end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday we'll have a ceasefire.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Democrats are desperate, right? As they should be, okay? Because we have more brutal polling here, okay? This one from Harvard Harris, okay? This poll right here, again, is a Harvard poll, okay? And, again, it's really bad, okay? In fact, it shows Trump with a net plus favorability, and basically anybody that's a Democrat that has a D by their name, they have a net negative favorability, right? Let's read this, because this is crazy, right? RFK plus 17, Elon Musk plus 11, Nikki Haley plus 5, Vivek Ramaswamy plus 5, Donald Trump plus 3, Bibi Netanyahu plus 1. So these are all public enemies, right? RFK is a public enemy because he's, a Democrat that doesn't get on board with the establishment when it comes to certain agendas. Elon Musk because of free speech. Nikki Haley because she's a Republican, even though she is clearly establishment. Vivek Ramaswamy because he's an anti-establishment Republican. Trump for obvious reasons. Bibi Netanyahu, they don't like him, right? But again, if you're a Democrat, okay, you got a D by your name. It seems like the public has really turned against these people, right? Gavin Newsom, -7. Kamala Harris, -9. Joe Biden, -11. Ocasio-Cortez, -12. Ilhan Omar, -19. Rashida Tlaib, -18. And Hunter Biden, -34. Again, this is devastating, okay? If you got a D by your name, it's not a good time for you. The public does not have very high favorability of approval of you. Wow, it's unbelievable, okay? I have a hard time believing that they didn't interview all Republicans, right? But, apparently not. This is how Americans are feeling right now. Basically, if you are on the other side of the aisle from Democrats, right? If Democrats disagree with you, the American public generally approves of you, okay? And this poll right here, I think is shocking, but shows you just how much trouble Democrats are in. And we're going to see tonight just how much of a threat Joe Biden is facing in a swing state like Michigan, because Joe Biden's obviously going to win, okay? It's just a matter of how many people come out and vote uncommitted, right? If a ton of people come out and vote uncommitted, let's say it's a significant amount, it's enough to kind of swing the outcome of the Michigan general election. Joe Biden's going to be in big trouble, okay? So we'll see tonight how serious these people are about boycotting Joe Biden. Are they going to show up and send the Democrats a message that could show trouble for Joe Biden in the general election, can confirm what we're seeing in the general election polls? We'll see. But I expect for Trump to blow out Nikki Haley. The real question is how many people will show up and vote uncommitted over Joe Biden. And that will be the real takeaway from the Michigan primary tonight. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.